It's hard to imagine a more beaten down fan base than Halo fans. Considering we're constantly derided by the so called true fans for being needlessly pessimistic, clearly that isn't the case since we're already giving 343 another chance to disappoint us. We're so desperate to get another Halo game, we'll accept an Unreal Engine release with graphics that only look good to people watching it like a movie, an unreadable mess for anyone that's actually going to play the game. The promise is that it's supposed to be a return to form, back to the classic Bungie trilogy, but with new and improved graphics. So, on one hand, they'll say they're being as faithful as possible. The next, we'll see Chief sprinting like in every other modern shooter, driving a warthog right up to the hunter encounter that was meant to be on foot, or knocking boxes out of the way like they were when they were meant to be impossible barriers. At every single step, they have enabled changes that fundamentally alter the experience of the original Combat Evolved, usually ruining the timing of dialogue and music or making encounters far easier than they should be. To say nothing of the fact that they insist upon the hideous Halo 4 Forerunner aesthetic, even if it makes no sense, like altering a vault door to have a spire that would not work for its function. They're pushing a single narrative. Halo was always meant to be this way. So is it all a lie? Going off my feed, I suspect the expected answer would be yes. There's been plenty of video essays about 343's leadership hiring people that hated Halo. More recently, there'd been a number of videos about the chaos of Halo Studios' leadership, or about how they pushed out everyone that ever worked on the originals. Personally, I'd argue it wouldn't matter if they were truthful or not. Halo Studios didn't make Halo, and they cannot recreate it. Bungie did. But not the Bungie of today drowning in their bastardization of Marathon. No, because games are developed by people, not companies. It might seem a truism, or maybe a poorly aged cope given our AI driven future, but Halo Combat Evolved, at least, was a product of the culture of the turn of the century and the early 2000s. What the devs enjoyed in their personal lives, they put into Halo. For Halo Studios, they're trying to make Halo without caring for what inspired it: glorified fan fiction. The choice of Halo being a ring world was most likely inspired by the book series of the same name. It even features some similar story beats, like the crew crash landing on the ring and trying to both survive on the ring and learning more about its history and purpose. Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers influence on the series is inherent not just in the codifying of the idea of the super soldier and power armor, but also much of the structure of the UNSC, and likely acted as an inspiration for the war with the Covenant. The anime adaptation of the book serves as a more visual inspiration for the armor of the Spartans. In the original Macworld teaser, the armor had even shared even more similarities with the Chief having a shoulder mounted launcher similar to the mobile armors. A more commonly noted similarity and source of inspiration would be the Colonial Marines from the Alien series. There's a clear visual parallel between the Marines awakening from cryo and the beginning of Halo when the Chief is thawed out. The armor and the equipment of the Colonial Marines also bears a lot of similarities with the bulky metal armor that the original Combat Evolved Marines wore. Sergeant Apone's striking design and personality being the inspiration for Sergeant Johnson. The character and personality of the Halo Marines was inspired by this film, which had believable dialogue in part because Apone's actor, Al Matthews, had been an actual Marine. You can also see many visual similarities between the Colonial Marines dropship and the Pelicans of the Halo series, with the Pelican pilots themselves having their headgear inspired by the Ghost in the Shell movie adaptation. All of these inspirations coalesce into what would become Halo. In large part, it was a sci-fi military fiction that's reflecting the early parts of Aliens and Starship Troopers. The Master Chief is just one member of a larger war machine. For the first half of the game, Cortana and Captain Keyes are arguably more important than our super soldier. With the sinking of the Autumn, the Master Chief is only the safest remaining place for the AI to reside. Starting with Mission 2, our goal is to save as many Marines as possible, while Cortana hacks into the Covenant BattleNet. The very next mission, We're part of a rescue operation to assault the Truth and Reconciliation and save the captain so he can lead the greater war effort. Consistently, our player is put into the role of merely being the tip of the spear of a larger military operation, or, less charitably, we're a glorified taxi service for the resident AI in our head. It's only once Captain Keyes is in command again that the mission switched from the UNSC being on the back foot to leading direct military operations against the Covenant in the Silent Cartographer and the Assault on the Control Room missions. Halo Studios doesn't share this grounded military fiction inspiration, so their portrayal of Combat Evolved's story and the Chief is much different.
We were losing the war, pushed to the edge of extinction by an alien alliance bent on our eradication. The Covenant. So we made a bet and trusted everything we had left to one soldier.
In Halo Studios' Campaign Evolved, the most important character is the most marketable one, the Master Chief. They already know that Keyes will be dead by the story's end, so they're already minimizing his role in the story to push forward the Chief. The reason is that Halo Studios writes and is inspired by superhero fiction. In this style story, all of these side characters just get in the way of the meat of the genre, the hero. We can see that inspiration most clearly with Fireteam Osiris in the opening of Halo 5, where the four of them alone can roll over a Covenant fleet and Forerunner constructs with the choreography straight out of a Marvel film.
Contact!
You can see this attitude time and again in Halo Campaign Evolved. They constantly need to show the Chief on screen, where what was once a first-person view, or when the scene had focused on an unnamed or minor human character. A rather egregious example was the mission to rescue Captain Keyes. Once you've commandeered the Covenant spacecraft, two hunters would appear, and rather than simply fly away, Keyes chose to ram them. This was actually meant to be a defining character trait for him, his risk-taking or reckless behavior that would have him personally lead a mission that would break open the vaults containing the Flood. This character moment was completely turned on its head. Rather than simply boarding the ship after clearing the area of enemies, the Chief is wasting time outside of it while everyone else is already on board. Why? So we can have an overly choreographed scene of two hunters charging him in the perfect spacing to be hit by Keyes. In military fiction, these kinds of convenient timings don't exist, because real combat is messy. In superhero fiction, it's merely an expectation for the genre. 343 still hasn't graduated from writing in this way, and I don't think they can. What inspired Halo is nearly 30 to 70 years old now, depending on which influence we're talking about. What inspired 343 has barely passed its second decade and is still being made today. So we end up with Sergeant Johnson sounding like this.
This one, you haven't heard. Op started simple enough. Drop in, grab the goods, get out before anyone noticed. Well, guess what? They noticed. Now you ready to get to it? You serve long enough, you learn to read a battlefield. This place, more of a freak show. And trust me, I know freaky.
Have you enjoyed your stay so far, Demon?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're on the clock.
as opposed to this.
Man, we let those dumb bugs out to the middle of nowhere to keep them from getting their filthy claws on Earth. But we stumbled onto something that's so hot for that they're scrambling over each other to get it. Well, I don't care if it's God's own anti-son of a bitch machine or a giant hula hoop. We're not gonna let them have it. What we will let them have is a belly full of lead and a pool of their own blood to drown in. Am I right, Marines?
Sir, yes, sir!
Damn right I am.
Now, do I really have to explain why the first one sounded nothing like the second? It did feel like something that would be right at home in a Marvel film, right? Call it millennial writing, Whedonisms, call it whatever you will. It doesn't belong in Halo. It isn't Halo because you can't just copy the superficial elements and write whatever you please. You need to understand the IP you're writing for, and Halo Studios never will. If they could, they'd simply generate Halo by algorithm. So what do us Halo fans have to look forward to? Halo Studios can't make a Halo game, but they can make some fine streamer bait for the masses to consume and forget about. But what does that mean for us? If the game flops and is forgotten, that's it. It's dead and done. Maybe Microsoft will bury the series for a few more years, or maybe they'll fire the wrong people and hire worse ones, and then try again later. If the game succeeds, then Halo truly has died. Because if there's one enduring truth, it's that they cannot make a Halo game, but they can paint it over.
Chief, you ever get tired of being the strong, almost silent type?
No.